like getting the people to a point where they're really immersed in the
Thing
reality.
that hooks the watcher. If you put something very different from the reality, it takes a lot of effort in special effects and narrative.
So, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Thank you for being part of this new project from Take Two Interview. And this is called Two Artists in Search of a Dialogue. And today we have Flamur, Blakaj and Armando Fonseca. This project is supposed to have interviews with different artists from different parts of the world. And in this round, we're trying to talk with people from Brazil and Europe. So, welcome, Armando. Welcome, Flamur. Thank you for your time and your availability to be here.
O Skull, A Máscara de Anhangá é um filme de terror slasher.
Hope is the antidote.
I have sent you guys some questions. The first one was a surprise question. So, as we have here Armando with an A, I'll start with him in an alphabetic order. My first question is always related to the human being behind this name. So, who lives behind the name Armando Fonseca?
I'm a guy that loves stories. I love stories. I have always been obsessed since I was a little kid with stories in books and movies. And then I made my passion the art I live for. Otherwise, I don't know what I was gonna be doing. So I am someone that love to share stories, but I love to hear, watch, and read stories. It's kind of my thing.
Okay, and if I was asking you about what made you do this, or when was the first time you realized that you wanted to do this?
Mm. Uh, when I was a kid in school, maybe 12, 13 years, every homework that was assigned, I was already trying to make home videos, short films.
Okay.
So I had a large VHS camera from my father, and every homework I tried to do something related to video somehow. And when I handed this videotapes to my teachers, the classroom went nuts. They liked it because it was always a short story with like a comedic timing. And the teacher liked so much that she started playing the tape in the other classrooms.
Oh,
So the whole school, at the end of the week, watched my films. And then I started realizing what the feedback was about this. And when I saw people coming at me, talking to me about the film, obviously, but that engaged in other conversations, in other things, other stories, and I saw that was really powerful, and that was a when I thought that's what I like to do, that's what I love to do. It's to engage in conversations with people, And to make films is to engage in conversations. I like to make films to sparkle, something inside people's heads, to make them think and question and talk to each other. That's when I realized it.
Great. Thank you. Let's go to Flamur and try to find who's living behind this name, Flamur Blakaj.
Um, I I as well started very young with not with movie shooting. Like I had some things I did with like 16, 15. I started like shooting, but acting. Not only acting, but more like what really interests me is to sort of create a reality for people. So already at a very young age, I would like uh, put like in the class in the 8th grade we had like big fights, but not real fights, but like fights where the teacher thought they were real, but the students involved knew they weren't real. And I would do that like with a group of people, and really like that. What interested me was like getting a reaction, I think, at that time, and like getting the people to a point where they're really immersed in the reality. I'm still searching for that in movies. Like in theater, you can sometimes have it. In movies, I think people always know that it's not reality what they're watching, but that as well is super interesting because there's like sort of this agreement of saying we both pretend, like me as a movie, like if I shoot something, and as people who watch it, we have like this sort of agreement to pretend, like everyone has this to pretend that this is reality. And I think that's also a very interesting realm of yeah.
And then I would ask a similar question. When did you realize that people were interested in that? I mean, you might have had your first masterpiece or your first product, so to say, and suddenly you see that people are interested in that or they got to pay attention. When was that?
um I was in a school where there were a lot of theater productions and a lot of also smaller assignments. And each time when I played, people would always sort of congratulate me on like the work. Which, but for me, it's not mainly about like the recognition. For me, it's really like what really made me want to do it is like this sort of escape into another reality, like getting either playing wise, like acting wise, to create a whole character reality where there is a whole person there, or like directing wise, where I try to create a world where the reality in itself is like whole, and that is what really interests me. And but the first time, like I think was probably in 8th grade with the 8th grade play, where I played like a man with a scar, and yeah.
Great. I have this book here. It's called Theory of Adaptation. I'm not sure I have it in hand. It's very interesting because it talks about the different adaptations of artistic pieces, like a book that becomes a video, a film that becomes amusement park, or yeah, sometimes the other way around. And why I'm saying this, Flamur, and then I'll ask to Armando as well. We have this feeling of getting involved into another dimension or we have the feeling of living another universe or go into this new atmosphere when we read a book and when we watch a play. Um, the difference in making movies is that your guys are not only living this experience, but you're allowing others to see it. I mean, what you guys do as directors is that you're not only trying to live, but also trying to show that. And then I would ask you guys, why is that? And what are the stories that most attracts you to show the others?
Um, I think right now at the moment, what interests me most to show is human relationships, like or better said, maybe that no one is really evil and no one is really good. So everything is like this is something that really interests me in like at the moment. Like there were moments before where I was more interested in provocation, but at the moment it's really like this relationship thing. And I think by showing it, you get the people to sort of more really see the vision that you had, and as a director you can really like show them where they should look. But yeah, what of course in a book is more interesting is that there the fantasy of the person who reads it is of course infinite, and in movies you can't really show this. Like there are some things you just can't show, I think, in movies that in books you can describe. Like in books sometimes something sounds really great. If I don't know, I describe an orb that sort of appears, and inside there's a person, a dwarf, like with the project I'm doing right now. There's like in the books there are these dwarfs that come out of orbs, and they really are described as sort of bubbles that appear. And like doing it in a movie, you need to really think about how do you do like how do you create this bubble? How should it look? How is the interaction with this object? And in the book, you can just write it and then forget about it. And the people who read it will just imagine it. And sometimes I think in the imagination, reading a book, you can imagine things that are not possible. So in a book you can go into the realm of the non-possible, and in movies you can't. But in movies you really can like focus the mind on what you want to show and really create a world where the person who watches this can be a bit more passive and just go with the flow that you created. I think that's it for me.
Great. That's great. And yeah, guys, feel free to keep asking each other questions when you feel like you're curious about something, because I'll bring now Armando, who is very, very much into the world of creating effects, special effects, I would say. I'd like you to bring a little bit of your experience, Armando, in of what Flamur said. How to make these atmospheres or these universe that sometimes we just live them and we build them in our mind while reading a book, and now we would need to see this on the screen, because you have a lot of experience on special effects for your movies, and that would be interesting to get to know a little bit about.
I have written films, original films, original ideas, and shot them. And I have made movie adaptations of books, of short stories as well. And I prefer to make adaptations of other works. Why? because it comes with a vision of someone who wrote it, you know. And when I transport that into film, I have the option to make it as truthful and faithful to the original work, or to give it a little twist. And that little twist is what makes me love to make adaptations, because that's what Flamur said. I can point what is important in my story, in my film, so the watcher, the viewer, is gonna look at it with some attention. And I think that this kind of transformation from a written word to the film is magical, because you can tell any kind of stories in a film. I like to make any kind of film. I like to make comedy, I like to make drama, but especially I like to make films of genre film, fantastic films. And because I think that when you deal with like fantastic subject, you are like extrapolating the whole reality. So the person who's watching that, it's kind of making a parallel. It's kind of putting himself into that fantastical world, but thinking that it could happen with them. So when I make a film with vampires, or a film with psychopaths, psychopath killers, uh, I know that is a little over the top. It's fantastical. It's like art house films, but you have to put that in a reality situation. When you put that fantastical acts in a reality world, makes the watcher identify himself, identify the society he lives in, and that makes him think. That hooks the watcher. You know, if you put something very different from the reality, it takes a lot of effort in special effects and narrative and acting, directing, everything, to hook the spectator, to hook the watcher. But if you put like a layer of reality, it suddenly strikes them as to, whoa, that could happen with me. There's a film called Elysium with Matt Damon. It's a film that if you watch it for some time, you can see like it's a third world country, everybody's poor, working a lot, don't have any money. It looks like City of God. But then it strikes us with technology, strikes us with like a space station living above them for the high class. And that, uh, I think, is what hooks the watcher. Special effects, just for the special effects, doesn't mean anything. It's like special effects in films are not like magic tricks. It doesn't work. Special effects in films works for that angle of the camera with that lighting for 1.5 seconds. In the case of a head exploding, for example, it works. In this shot, like a close-up shot, because it's a head, it's gonna explode, you know, and you keep like days of preparing, sometimes weeks of preparing and special effect that's gonna be in our film for 1 second. And so we can't use special effects to make the film have worth it for itself. We have to use special effects as a tool for the narrative. So if I see a special effect that makes the story go forward, explains why the protagonist feels that, or why the character is died like that, and makes the story go forward, that's worth it. But special effects with no meaning, it's not worth it. Yeah, I cut it off my film. And I'm not saying I know everything. I make perfect films. But when I shoot a film, if I have like 10 special effects scenes, maybe half of them are not going to work, and I had to cut it and not put in the film. And we had to have this, situation where you have to step outside your film and see if that works or not. And special effects the same, but you have to have a lot of preparation in order not to waste time, money, and editing room.
Yeah, I think I was interested in asking you this because I mean, I have seen this program you had on some channel, Universal channel, I think. You and what's your partner's name?
We had a TV show on Sci-Fi channel that's from NBC Universal. It's called Cinelab.
Cinelab.
Each episode, we shot a different short film with the special effects and action scenes. And throughout the episode, they show us preparing it and shooting it. And at the end, they show the result. It's like a 1, 2 minute, 3 minutes short film at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a lot of fun because we could test a lot of things. So in my next feature films that you see, there's a lot of special effects that for the first time we tried on a TV show and then we made it work on the feature films,
Bomba na van!
Chegou a hora dessa galera encarar o primeiro desafio.
Vamos rodar um filme com alienígenas e uma van explodindo em movimento.
Abre aqui um pouco, cara. Não tá dando.
Cuidado, ele está entre nós. O Alien Explosivo.
Beleza, vamos lá rodar esse filme.
Produção original que mostra os efeitos especiais como você nunca viu. Cinelab, dia 3, 7h45 da noite, no canal Universal. Nesta quarta, o terror toma conta do Cinelab. E coisas estranhas vão acontecer neste set.
Ah, não, cara.
Pelo visto, nossos experts vão precisar fazer o diabo.
Você tem que garantir que o cara não vai me encerrar.
O Rony tá com medinho.
Para atravessar o portal do inferno.
Vamos nessa, hein? Demoníaco.
Cinelab, episódio inédito, nesta quarta, 7h30 da noite, no canal Universal.
Yeah, and that was very interesting because there was a lot of creativity around the idea of how can we make that work and how can we make that cheap and how creative can we be with the materials and the preparation of it, the process itself. I think it was very interesting. And that's why I asked you, because I think we all agree that special effects is not something for itself, but something that helps us to build the story. It's like the translation of many of the visions that we have in the story, right? And I would ask you, Flamur, you are also bringing now for The Last Chance, that's the name of your next movie, The Last Chance, a lot of input from the book, yeah? I forgot the name of the book, I'm sorry. But I would like you, The Profound, yeah? Mm-hmm. I'd like you to talk a little bit about your options, your choices of telling the story or adapting with your vision the story of The Profound.
With The Profound, like it's sort of, the movie isn't like an adaptation of the books, but it's how do you say, a further installment of the books. It's like it shows a future scenario of the books, and I'm working together with the author of the books, who is Manos Breath is his artist's name.
Mm-hmm.
And we're working very closely and talking a lot about, like, it's also a bit a fight of what is possible, what is not possible. So it's not only my, like, it is a lot of my vision, but it's not only my vision that comes through in the further installment. But like one of the things that I think is super important, and in this first script, is more between the lines than in the lines, is like the relationships between the people. They're not really that loaded yet, like in the script.
Yep.
So I think like there I'm putting a lot of work in to like try and get them a bit more three-dimensional. And then like a lot of thought goes into connect, because it's like maybe for you, Armando, because also for the audience, it's a movie that takes that plays in the, like, there's three times. There's the future, there's the present, and there's the past, and they sort of cut in between, and then there's a lot of different characters. So the like the things that really are important are like finding common threads where the audience understands without having to think too much whom we're following right now. And with like, and I'm trying this with objects, and I'm trying it with like theme musics to like get the audience into the zone where they understand, right now we're there. Also with of course with color grading and with like with tint. Exactly. But like with this project, it's like a lot of the, since I didn't write the script, right? The script is written by the author, so the like my vision inputs go more in the direction of like artistic choice of how to guide the view and how the actors act, and less in the direction of actually choosing, okay, this scene, like this, of course, in the edit room, I will do then. But at the moment, we shoot all the scenes in the script, of course. And then later on, I might decide maybe this scene needs to be a bit shorter. Yeah.
Great. And I just found similarities in the movie that Armando just finished. I mean, it's been already 2 years, right, from Desmemórias. What's the name in English?
Remind.
Remind, which we also had the past, the future, and the present. And would you like to say something about this construction of time in a movie? And together with this question, Armando, I would also ask you, what is there in your job that always remains the same? There is no change, because you have worked with a lot of different genres, horror movies, now with Teatro do Instante, our theater group, and of course you have done some other work around the audiovisual area. What is the one thing that does not change in your job? So that's the second question. And the first one is about time and Remind.
Remind is a film that we shot 2 years ago that we completed it some months ago. So it's brand new. We are gonna put it in festivals and release it soon. But Remind tells a story of a woman suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's. So she forgets stuff. She forgets where she is, forgets about people around her. And the story for itself is not a boring story, but the linear telling of it, I found it to be kind of boring when I wrote it initially. So I scrambled it. And then I put some memories from her childhood in the beginning, and then in the end, and in the middle, she remembers stuff from when she was a kid. And I think that kind of non-linear telling of the story brings more to the table, because it hooks the audience to pay attention to where she is right now, what's going on with her, who's with her right now. It makes like kind of a game with the audience. The audience tries to fill the blanks that otherwise in a linear story it wouldn't be there, the blanks. Of course, there are films that are linear that works perfectly. It's okay. But in this story that we were telling on Remind, the non-linear telling of the story helps us to make the audience always be trying to help the protagonist, always be trying to fill the blanks and to understand, so that hooks them, because in the next scene they have the reward of what they were thinking about 2-3 scenes before that. So that was a choice to make the story non-linear. And the second question was, what changes from job to job?
Or actually,
think,
what remains? Yeah, what remains unchangeable?
I think that's, for me, right, the most important thing. If I'm doing a vampire film, a drama, a teenage adventure comedic film, for me, what remains unchanged is the importance I give to the story itself. Because I see a lot of films that start with a finished script, and then the director get the script and start shooting as it's written. I think that's a way to work, of course, but for me, the story is the most important thing in the whole film. If I have like a weak story, a script that is not 100%, I'm not going to start shooting this film, because I do low budget independent films. I don't have the luxury. I can't waste time and money thinking how to fix my film while I'm shooting. So each film, I get a script and work on it as much as most as I can to make it work, and that's what I cannot do. I have always to get the script and work on it, and that's something I'm very worried always when I start a film, is to see if the story is correct. Because I of course, today I direct my films, I shoot my films, but I worked in a lot of films of other people, of friends, and I saw up close movies falling apart just because they didn't pay attention to some little small details on the script that could like fix everything. So sometimes there's some really small details in each scene that maybe it can impact your film, that it can change the whole the whole day. It can like take days out of your film, of shooting days of your film. So that's very important, and I don't like to see that happen. Another thing that I always pay very much attention when I'm shooting a film is to invite a crew and a cast that connects with the film, that wants to be there. That's very important, because I'm doing low budget independent films. If I have one person in the cast or crew that does not want to be there, it like contaminates everyone. So everyone's gonna be in a bad mood every day. Imagine being 1 month, 2 months, every day from 7 o'clock to midnight with the same people, and you start hating your colleague. It doesn't work. It makes the film fall apart, and I have seen that up close. So that's the two things that I always pay much attention to: the script being okay before shooting, and to invite a cast and crew that connects and wants to be there. If the person does not want to be there or can't or for some money issue, that's not a problem. In the next film, for sure we're gonna be together because it's gonna be a better condition. But in this one, it's very important that the person wants to be there. I think it's very important on a movie set that everybody is happy with what they're doing and everybody's wanting to be there every day. Otherwise, it falls apart.
Yeah, I think this thing of teamwork is one of the biggest issues in a movie, right? I'm not sure if you know this expression, Flamur, but in Brazil we tend to say that filming or making movies is the art of waiting. And yeah, because lots of people are doing lots of things, and also lots of people are doing nothing in a set for some specific times of the day. And if the team is not really connected, yeah, I think that's a big issue you brought, Armando. And then I would like to hear Flamur talking about your experience in these two questions. The last one is, what doesn't change since you started doing what you do? And if I'm not mistaken, you have a very wide journey in your life. You're now directing, but you're also an actor.
Why are you always staring up there?
Have you ever seen a supernova, Jim?
Of course not. You're the astronomer, not I. Anyway, I thought you wanted to talk about us.
Well, that's the point.
For fuck's sake, can't you just tell me what's
So
going
an
on?
actor, and if I'm not mistaken, you have been also an athlete, fighting martial arts, and this is kind of how you also started with this fighting videos and stuff like that. So in these three Flamurs we have here in the story, what doesn't change? And the first question I just forgot. It was, can you help me there, Armando? The time. How do you deal with the time in the story of this non-linear or chronological time? You already mentioned some techniques, working with color, working with music, but what other elements you think about now in Last Chance that you're dealing with time?
I'll answer the second question first. So I deal with time by like, of course, as I said, like with the objects, with the music, and then there's also going to be writing, because it's too complicated to just like rely on the mind of the audience, because there's also many different characters, and some characters only are in the future, but we follow them, and some characters are only in the past and we follow them. So like there's going to be written when we are and with whom we are, so the audience sort of understands this. I think it's like I think this movie is a bit like a patchwork of different scenes, and this first installment is a lot of world building. That's also why the three-dimensionality of the characters is between the lines and not in the lines, because else it would have been so much longer. Yeah. So those are the three main methods: music, objects. No, four methods: music, objects, writing, and color grading. And like the rest, I try. I think with those four things, the audience, I trust the audience to be able to follow. As for, like, it's really hard. Like with acting and with directing, I can say the thing that is in common. I would say that the magic often, like to me, the magic of art happens when you're well prepared and mistakes happen. But you're so well prepared that the mistakes are allowed to happen, or misunderstandings, not mistakes, because it's not a mistake. Misunderstandings happen, and I think in like if there's in the preparation space for misunderstandings to happen, sometimes I think the greatest ideas I had as an actor came from me completely misunderstanding the director, but because we had enough time. Something that the director didn't think of it, I didn't think of it, I misunderstood what the director wanted, and something completely new came into existence. And I think it's the same with movies. Like in movies, of course, this needs to happen in advance and can't happen on set, or maybe if you're super lucky you have the time on set that some misunderstandings can happen, but that's then I think a really high luxury. But like sometimes I give input and people do something like I didn't want it, but it's great for the character. So I think this misunderstanding is something constant, and I think also something I want to keep open, because I really think that sometimes the magic, the genius, is the misunderstanding, and neither the director nor the actor. Yeah. As for trying to connect it to martial arts,
I would actually, I would actually ask the unchangeable parts of Flamur in his work.
Not of the of me.
Yeah.
As then I would say that it's consistency. I would say, like as well as with acting, as well as with martial arts, as well as with directing, or focus maybe. I like with martial arts, I trained 4 times a week, and I would train for myself as well. So I really got really good, but I was like tunnel visioning. With acting, I like to finance parts of my studies. I was working sometimes nights. Like I would have class from 8 in the morning until 10 in the evening, and at 11 I would start working, and then at 7 in the morning I would stop working. I would sleep for an hour and then go to acting school again. But not like consecutive days. Like that would be once every 2 weeks, and then on the weekends, of course, I would work. So I was like also there. I was really like tunnel visioning, and now with the movie project, like there's a lot of like I have whole plans of like putting money aside to buy equipment or to rent equipment. Where now for a year or 2 years I've been putting money aside and buying equipment when they were cheapest, and like things like that. So like this, yeah, that I would say is
super
the
focus.
Yeah.
And what about the opposite, guys? You're working for some time now. I think after year, you guys are bringing something for your lives in the realm of working with movies. Is there a moment, or are there moments that you guys feel like, oh my God, I don't know what to do? There's this fear of not being able to create something, or a block process of the fear of failure, or not being able to know what am I going to do next. Have you ever been through this, Armando?
I have not the fear of thinking what am I gonna do next. That's not a problem for me, because, as you know, working in feature films, it's a long run. You know, you work sometimes for 3, 4, 5 years in one film.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of films in different stages, like in writing, other in pre-production, others shooting, and others in post, and others releasing. So I always have some kind of film lined up. But I have this feeling inside of me that I'm not enough. Always. Every time I get a new film, a new script, I always question myself, can, am I able to do this? Am I able to pull this off? Because this is 100 pages in my hand. But I'm going to be in the next 6 months working on this every day, non-stop, talking about pre-production and shooting. Of course, it takes years to make that. But I always have this in my head, like, I'm not going to make it. I can't make this. I can't do this anymore. It's not for me. I'm going to be in this for another year, another film. I always kind of freak out a little when I start working on a film. That happens with me. But it goes away when I start working on it and reading it and thinking about it and talking to the people on the crew about it. And then I see that I'm surrounded by people that want to make the film as well. It's not just me. There are other people in this film that want to make the film. So that takes a lot of pressure off me to think, okay, I'm going to do my part and work with other people. I don't have to do this all by myself because I have already done films all by myself. And it's a lot of work, then it's not worth it. It's worth it if you're starting your career and stuff, but it's not worth it if you want to try to make bigger films, other films with more people. So that's something that haunts me even to this day. I'm going to shoot a film now in November, a feature film, and I don't even have the script. And it's freaking me out because the script is going to be here in 10 days, 15 days. And my head exploding already, because I have to start working on it. It's a short period of time to make a pre-production work.
Yeah.
But that's okay. When I get it, I'm going to think about it. But I'm freaking out.
So what about you, Flamur? Do you freak out sometimes?
Yeah. I think this thing of like every time something small happens, like I also go into this state of like it's not possible to manage. But actually I had an experience like for my master project. I didn't release the movie because storytelling wise I made a mistake. Like not casting wise, I made a mistake that told a story I didn't want to tell, so I didn't release it because. But it was a 15-minute short, and 3 days before shooting started, my director of photography told me he can't be on set for the shooting days, and so I didn't have the camera. Like 3 days before, I didn't have like but I think through this experience, because in the end I sort of managed. I managed to shoot it, and it wasn't the camera I wanted, it wasn't the lenses I wanted, and so on. But because I had to do a lot of compromises, but in the end it still worked. I like there were 4 different people who then were shooting. So the how do you call it, the directing of photography wasn't very consistent. Like I gave as much input as I could, but like I was of course organizing a lot of things because there was there were a lot of things revolving around me to do. But like in the end I managed. So but there were really nights I couldn't sleep because I was like, it's not possible. Like I would wake up in the middle of the night and I was like, okay, fuck, sorry for cussing. I need to I need to do something about it, but it wasn't possible because the rental houses were closed because it was Sunday when I heard from them, from my director that, or Saturday or Sunday, and it just wasn't possible. Yeah, so there was a lot of doubt, but like every time I doubt now, I try to remember this period, and I think it will hopefully be the worst period I ever had. Because I can't imagine it being worse, because a bit, like to give a bit of detail, like there was a street that was blocked off for this shoot. I had the licenses to shoot in the night. I had I organized the actors. Like there was also no chance of moving it to a time where the director of photography was free. So I was just
Yeah, I think we'll all understand these compromises, and one single piece of the set falls apart, everything. It's like a domino effect. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'd like you guys to try to bring to us one project, one thing that you remember that was so incredible, so interesting, so curious for you guys that you would like to relive this project. Could you tell me that, Armando?
Something that I like very much that I did, but I like the result, but I didn't like the experience for me, because I was always very tense to make it work. But of course, I learned that I have to enjoy the ride as well. I can't be always stressed out because I'm gonna be shooting a film for 1-2 months, and I can't be like on meds, trying not to freak out all the time. And when I shot the TV show Cinelab, I remember that I was always very stressed out and very worried for everything to work out. And I should have enjoyed more. I should have enjoyed more the days, the people, the opportunity, because every episode we shot something different. Imagine, we did 6 seasons. Each episode, we went to a different place with a different actor, different story, different special effects. Every episode was different. And I think that I was very young. I didn't enjoy it as much as I should have. The experience on being on set, creating, writing, directing. And I did that very tense and stressed out. So if I could relive that, I would relive that, enjoying more the experience.
Okay, so it's always a learning. What about you, Flamur?
I think if I could relive, I think it would be like one of the first projects. It was I just had like it was before I got into like what it really means to shoot. I just like was at my school, like the acting school, had like lights you could rent for free, and cameras you could rent for free. So I was like, I'll just rent it for a week or two, and I'll just do any movie, and we just went and did it like run and gun, shooting it, and it was really like also I did the cutting and the color grading and the sound design and everything, and it was really an innocent experience of it, because like I didn't know any rules of anything. I didn't and to me it was really fun. And I think like this fun part is something I would like to relive, to like also maybe take to the projects, to like also be in the state of mind where you can say, okay, this scene doesn't work, we just like of course on real set you can't do it, but like this innocence of just being like, I want a fight scene here, and I don't need an explanation for anything. I just do a fight scene, and in the end, the short was 20 minutes. It was, of course, funny because I just did whatever I wanted. I also played the main character, so it was like really, really wild. But like in the cutting room, I would cut it, and some things were great, some things were not great, but it was really, like, I myself enjoyed it. I would laugh, even though I would watch a scene like 6 times, 7 times. I would still, like, not only 6, 7 times, of course, like cutting it, you watch it 200 times, but I would still laugh. And yeah, so I think that would be something I would try to relive, to like take something from there to yeah.
So in a way, we're kind of talking of spontaneity, yeah, to be spontaneous or innocent, or maybe not following so many rules.
Yeah. Maybe yeah, exactly.
Great, that's great. Okay, so we're about to go to the third block, which is a surprise block. But before we go there, I was thinking, we're talking about 2 different directors, and also actor, from Brazil and Switzerland. And I remember when I talked about the cover of the YouTube video that we're going to put, you mentioned the flag of Albania.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that those who are listening to us are already having a feeling of what it is to film in Brazil, what it is to film in Switzerland. Like, for example, this one detail I could rent for free. I'm not sure this is very simple in Brazil when you study acting, and you'll be able to just get some really expensive equipment and go there and do something. So these are some of the little differences between Europe and Brazil. I'd like you guys to bring this a little bit of how is your experience of starting to get in the world of filming? And I think you could start, Armando.
You were talking about school and trying to shoot films during school. My experience with shooting in university or schools was very bad, because I was studying advertisement for 4 years, and we could not take the equipment. I couldn't take the camera outside of the university property to shoot on the streets if I wanted to. I couldn't take the camera from the school to my home, to my place, to my house to shoot it, because they wouldn't allow it. So it was very, very difficult to create stories, to shoot stories inside the university property, you know. But as everything that is difficult, we have to have the creativity to go further, you know. And that made me try other stuff. I reached my limit on shooting inside of the school, and then I started shooting outside with other equipment. Like I asked for a friend for a video camera. It was a VHS camera at the time, and I started shooting outside, because it's very interesting. If I am in a film school, in a university, that I have like teachers telling me how to shoot, how to tell a story, how to light a set, and I can't shoot anything outside the university. It's kind of crazy. You're limiting for no reason. And then I learned that years after that, the school was allowing the students to get the equipment and shoot outside. I don't know why, but in my time, it didn't happen. It was very bad for me. I remember in Brasilia, where I studied, the teachers they had the experience, but in my directing class, for example, there was a teacher that only made a film like 30 years ago, and it was a documentary. So I was like, holy shit, I'm learning directing from a guy that never shot a fiction feature film. He did a documentary 30 years ago. So I started realizing that I had to search for knowledge for myself in other places. Then I went to study in New York Film Academy. Then I went to study at the Escuela in Cuba as well. And I saw there how I could boost my imagination and creativity with the help of the school, and not the school as a limiter, as something that's gonna restrain me, you know. But that's okay. I think that's a life experience. We have to take the experiences, if they are good or bad, and take them with us and move forward, you know. But that was my experience.
And what would you bring to us, Flamur?
Yeah, I think in Switzerland, because of like the university I went to, it was a state university, so it was really easy to get equipment. And there's also how do you call it? Kulturbüro, it's called. I don't think in Germany they don't have it. I don't know if they have it in Brazil. It's like they applied for funding for renting out equipment, but for a really, really good price. So you can get like I don't know, like they don't have the greatest cameras. Like I like the camera they have, but to me it has a bit of a documentary look to it. The FX6, like the Sony camera, I always feel it has a bit of a documentary look to it when you shoot with it. Of course you can correct it with color grading, but you can get that for like 30 euros a day, which is like compared to real rental houses is really really not much. So like I think there are a lot of options. Also, I think like I as an actor applied for funding for a movie, and I don't have a directing how do you call it,
license, something like that.
Yeah, license or yeah, exactly, certificate. And I still like now for the last chance it was a lot more complicated, but because it was a bigger project. But for this small project it was really easy to get funding for it. So I think Switzerland is really I think there's a lot of money going into supporting young artists. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm interested about. You said Kulturbüro, that's some kind of cultural organ, state organ, yeah? It's maybe it's something that we have in Brasilia called the Cultural Supporting Fund, which comes from the Cultural Secretary, but it's completely different. There's a lot of money they give, but there's a lot of how do you say that? Yeah, things that you have to fulfill to apply for this money. And we don't have such a thing like a place to rent equipment from the state, or
no, it's not from the state. It's like they're an independent organization of artists, directors and camera people who applied for funding for their rental house by the state. So it's half funded by the state.
Oh.
Like they get funding support by the state, but they also get, like, of course, the money that the rentals bring in, and they also like they applied with different foundations, and they're independent. They're not a state.
It's like a non-governmental institution.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's interesting. That's interesting because it shows how the community or how the society in this place sees the production of culture, sees the production of movies. I am not sure, maybe Armando knows more than me. I'm not sure that we have such a thing in Brazil. We have the private institutions that will have the materials for you to rent, or you will need to have your own materials, right? Is there like a non-governmental institution or something from the state that will help you? Can you tell something about that, Armando?
No, we don't. Usually, if you have a film that is funded by the state, they are gonna give you money to rent somewhere else.
Yeah.
We don't have like such organizations like that.
So yeah, I would say that filming in Brazil has more like this handicraft style of making movies, right? I'm not sure that we do have a reliable industry with different networking and companies connected in order to bring a movie to the screen. And we have a lot of problem with distribution, right, Armando?
Yes, our distribution is very limited because we don't have a lot of movie theaters in Brazil. If you compare movie theaters in Brazil to the United States, that's the pinnacle. It's like that. It's like 1%. It's very, very, very low number of movie theaters. And we have to distribute our films usually on TV channels and streaming platforms that are not Brazilian. They're all international. They're all American or European as well. And it's difficult to get there, you know. And we always have to prove ourselves beforehand. So every movie we make here, usually, most of the films made in Brazil, we have to prove itself on festivals, winning prizes and awards, for then it to be recognized by some sales agent or distribution company that's going to put the film on the market.
Flamur, could you talk a little bit about this next step of the film? How what is your knowledge on this? How are films distributed in Switzerland, or how do you think The Last Chance will be seen by the audience?
I think with The Last Chance, we're also gonna go the no, I know we're gonna go the route of trying to win prizes, because like you can send it into the Swiss TV station, to the SRF, who also sometimes co-produces things, but I'm not 100% sure. Like I know that there's space in their program for things like that, but it's also quite select, because there's a lot of people who do movies in Switzerland. Yeah, and there's also for the size of Switzerland, like Switzerland is I think size-wise comparable to London. No, maybe it's a bit, but population-wise, it's comparable to
London,
which is crazy. But like if you compare it to the film festival, there's the Zurich Film Festival, there's the Geneva Film Festival, there's the Locarno Film Festival. Like there's so many film festivals, which really goes to show that there's a lot of people who do this. Yeah. So I think the there are a lot of possibilities for the size of the country, but still there's a lot of people doing it, so it's not. Yeah, I think you still need to win prizes to get into a TV station.
Okay. I was wondering if not we, but if there is something like a space for youth initiatives or kind of TV shows or programs that you can just send your movie there and let people watch. I'm not sure if this is possible in Switzerland. I'm not sure if this is possible here in Germany. But what I do know, and I find it very interesting, is that we have I don't know how to say this in English, but it's the Rundfunksteuer, the tax that we pay for the television.
For the television, yeah, because television is free in Germany. Like
Yeah.
it's free, and you pay the Rundfunk. In Switzerland, we have it as well.
And this is really interesting because it's kind of the society has the control, so to say, that we have the control of saying, look, I'm paying this tax, so I would like this and this kind of TV programs and stuff like that. Yeah. That's a very interesting idea, and that for me would bring the possibility of opening spaces for, initial productions, young productions, or first timer directors, or things like that, because there are so many channels. So our third block, and I think because of time I'll have to summarize everything here really fast, and my time is running out. It's this very light and fun with the ping pong questions, really fast. Armando, what would you answer for these questions here? Script or instinct?
Script.
And you, Flamur?
I think as well script.
Okay, and darkness or comedy, Flamur?
Both. I like dark comedy.
Okay. Armando, darkness or comedy?
Darkness, because working with genre films for so many years and make so many films, I saw that there's not like one kind of genre film. There's like vampire fans, ghost fans, serial killer fans, and we can like on a fantastic film do a lot of different films. There's a lot of options.
And would you say rehearsal or first take?
For me, it's rehearsal.
Flamur?
Like of course rehearsal, like you rehearse it beforehand, but sometimes then the first take has very fast questions. Sorry. So rehearsals as well.
Yeah, but you're right. The first take sometimes has this fresh, spontaneous.
Yeah, and also
misunderstanding, for example, you mentioned, right?
I really like if you rehearse it with like one character and then rehearse it with the other character and then block it, because then the actors still surprise each other.
Okay.
So then there's sometimes a magic in this first take, because the emotionality of like it becomes a bit more real sometimes.
Yeah.
But then it really needs to be well rehearsed and really said, like here I want you to go there, and here I want you to go there, and also really well blocked. Yeah.
But I understand that always on the first take there's some kind of freshness. The actor is doing that for the first time with the camera recording. That's true. But for me, the best take is the one that works. If it's the first, if it's the 9th take, that's the same for me.
Intuition or planning, Armando?
Planning. Because it's a hard, long work. If I do it all by intuition, sometimes it can fail. but my planning does not fail.
Okay. Flamur?
I agree. Planning and
And if
intuition comes when you fail. Then, like when the planning fails, then you go with
then
your
comes intuition, yeah. Yeah. All right. And let's say you guys change roles for one day. Armando would live the life of Flamur. For the little we got to know here each other, what are the things that would be most curious for you, Armando?
If I was Flamur, I was gonna make a kung fu film tomorrow. You know, if I had this knowledge, not I was not gonna wait for sure.
Okay. What about you, Flamur?
I think like with the experience then of Armando, yeah, I think I would definitely do like a horror vampire series because I really like watching them, but I have very little knowledge of how to do it, and yeah, so I would do something in that direction, and I would really be proud of myself for having done so many things.
And for you guys, for you two, is there anything, or is there this one thing that you have never said in any interview you might bring it for today?
Yeah, one time I was asked why does the director asks for another take when the take that they shot was already okay. You know, when we yell, cut, that was awesome, 100%. Let's do another one. And I was asked why directors do that, you know. And for me, the answer is I am happy with what I got. Now it's a chance for the actor to do whatever he wants to exceeds perfection. You know, the take that I got was perfect. But now, if the actor wants to, we can do another take so he can show another thing if he wants to. You know, and that's something that I never said why I do that. But I do that waiting for the actors to show me something different, you know. But I talk to the actors. It's not a surprise. But that's the reason I do that.
Okay.
Something I'm sorry, nothing comes to mind.
That's okay.
Um,
Is there any question I didn't ask that you would like to talk about, or any question you would ask Armando, or also Armando to Flamur?
Yeah, I would like Armando. You talked about that you often adapt the script when you get it, or always adapt the script because the story really needs to be in the center. And like what would interest me really is like when you say adapting the script, do you mean like moving the scenes around, or do you mean like taking out text and adding text, or also like more crazy stuff like saying, okay, this person's father died, and that's like, and it plays a bigger part in the script where it really takes influence on the storyline.
Mm-hmm. And to mess around with the order of the scenes is important to know if the story is working. But it's not relevant if I do that, and for me it works. I don't have to reprint, do another script, because I can shoot the same film and then in the editing way, I put in the order that I want to.
Yeah.
The things that I pay much attention when I get the script is if everything that's happening, it's making the story go forward. I don't want scenes that are not relevant. I don't want dialogue that says nothing. I have to know more of the character, know more of the story, know more of the conflict. If I see something that's not worth it, I just scrap it out of the script. And if necessary, I'll write another thing. If necessary, I'll write that the character's father died, and that's a motivation for him to do the rest of the story that's already told. Uh, I see that scripts are not written in stone. The scripts that I write and the scripts that I get to shoot, I have to adapt it for it to work, and it's a collective work. I have to know that someone's gonna affect my work, and I'm gonna affect someone's work. I'm not like a dictator that's everyone's doing what I want every time, all the time, all day long. No, I like to work as a collective with everyone. And Marcelo knows that when we rehearse the film, we have the script, but every time they rehearse, the actors bring something new, and then I alter the script. If the script is ready, I have to alter it, because the actors are the ones that are feeling the character in the flesh. They're living inside the character. They can tell me a lot more living that scene than I'm me reading what they are about.
Yeah.
So I like to scramble everything to make it work. I don't have a limitation for that.
Yeah, and also I remember the one day we were filming in Rita's house, and I saw you guys discussing which direction the camera would point, because there was this issue of the space, because of the size of the table, because where the natural light was coming from. So, like, the art had to change something that was on the script, because that's not the space was not exactly what you guys wanted, right? So this is what I find very incredible in the handcraft film in Brazil, because sometimes there's I think this happens in many places, of course, but I don't know. My first experience here will be with Flamur, so I'll be able to see things happening on the set. But what is interesting for me is that I feel that when there's a lot of money and everything is perfect and we have all the instruments to film, maybe we don't have this spontaneity to be creative right there on the set, because there is a little problem that we have to solve here.
I saw that up close, because here in Brazil, doing low budget independent films, you have to adjust in real time. You have to see the problem and then have the intuition to search for a solution. But in real big productions that I saw, the guy couldn't lift the cable to put in somewhere else because it was not his job. There's a cable guy that works with the cable, and that makes it a lot slower. It like drifts, it takes a lot more time because you can't work with everyone for solutions. In big productions, usually you have everyone with arms crossed waiting for the solution, but in small productions, I like that. I like to work with in small productions that I can ask for advices from everyone, from the production designer to the cinematographer to the guy that's putting on the lights. I like to have input to work with, and that's a limitation that big productions have. You can't like adjust and make another scene on the spot. The producer won't let you. The producer will tell you, okay, want to do that tomorrow, next week, not today. Today we're going to do that. If we can't do that, I'm sorry. And I saw that. So I like to work with uh, not small productions, but I like to work with crews that can think together. You know, that's very important.
That's great. That's great, guys. I am so sorry to cut this off now because we have come to my time limit here. Um, my last question is, what what does this conversation leave to you guys, or how do you feel after this conversation? And I would also ask you guys to leave a message to the next interviewees. We still have two interviews, one tomorrow and one on Saturday. You don't know who's coming, but if there's something interesting from this conversation, what it is or what kind of question you would ask these people. So your final words. Flamur?
Um, so first, what I take from the conversation, I found it really great to like hear you talk about, because you have a lot more experience, of course, in directing than I do, and like to hear that the struggle of like feeling not enough, and that was super good to hear, because like to know that it doesn't go away makes it more bearable. And then what really like with the script and of course like I feel like I could learn a lot from you, which yeah, was something I will definitely take away from it. And as for, I don't know, like I would say that like for me, the thing that I would give to the next people is that that it's always great to be well prepared, and to be open for spontaneity.
Spontaneity.
Yeah, exactly. Spontaneity. Yeah.
Great. Thanks. Armando?
It was very nice to meet you, Flamur. And I'm hearing you talk about a film that you're gonna do, but I'm not hearing about the action films that you're gonna do. You have the martial arts background. Use that in your favor. You know, it's something that can differentiate you from other filmmakers, especially kung fu, especially in Europe. We made a kung fu film some years ago. It's called Smoke Master. Look for it. And I saw that in Europe there's a lot of opportunities to show action films, and people like it very much, kung fu films. So I'm waiting for it. Very cool, very cool. And to someone that's coming, talk to Marcelo next. My advice is come open-minded. That it's not always that you can talk to someone as friendly and open-hearted as well as Marcelo and his guests. So take this time to talk freely, open yourself, talk about everything, and do not keep secrets to yourself. The thing that I saw the most in my film school was teachers that didn't give the information to the students. They were seeing the students as competition in some years. I don't know, but for me, the more people making films, the better. The more people making films, more people watching films, the industry grows, everything grows, everyone wins. So come and speak from your heart.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Armando. I think this is the 10th interview of this season, and it's so nice to get to learn so many things from the people who's coming just by listening, your life background, your experience. And so for this, I also thank you to bring this experience to us and being able to share to the other people. If I could tell you anything interesting to read, I found the book here. It's called A Theory of Adaptation from Linda Hutchin. I can send you guys later on. It's a very interesting conversation that she does with us, talking about going from a book and to theater, to stage, to films, to amusement parks, to poem, to music. And yeah, it's a nice entertainment, at least, to read her.
Cool. And for someone that's starting to write films, want to make that, there's this book, Save the Cat.
This is
a classic.
great.
Classical film, movie, book.
Yeah.
And for someone that is cutting trailers for a film, there's this book coming soon. It's very good. It's about trailers. So always look for knowledge. You never know enough.
Great. So once again, thanks for your time. It was a pleasure to be with you guys, and hope to see you soon or see you on the screen.
Cool. Thank you very much. Very cool.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.